As we continue the flashback into the era of Rox and Roger, we're treated to a lot of familiar faces in their heyday on the open seas, another brief check-in on Loki's complicated relationship with his family and the rest of Elbaf, and a glimpse into Rox's plan for world domination.
So, let's not waste any time and dive right into chapter 1156 of One Piece, where it does seem like we're not going to get any more of Yamato's journey. That cover series seems to have ended as we get just another simple color spread this week.
We might do like one wrap-up panel or something, but yeah, not getting it for a couple weeks kind of makes me think we're running out of things to talk about there.
Which makes sense. We've seen her already kind of complete everything. She's got her new daimyo. Yeah, it's run its course.
But it is kind of cool. This cover spread is showing kind of the new gen and old gen big three with Roger and Rayleigh and Gabon, and then, of course, Luffy and his two wings of the Pirate King and Sanji and Zoro. But something I actually missed the first time around. I saw Nami there just kind of hanging out, but did not see the rest of the crew like shrunken down in his backpack and pockets.
Yeah, Brooks like chilling on his hat right there. Yeah. Nice little details. Everyone still gets included.
Yeah, but not the most important thing of this chapter. Instead, let's turn our focus to the title. And we get another simple one this time around, being idle. Very simple, but very, very fitting for this chapter.
Yeah, similar to how we've seen more of Rox recently, this chapter truly feels like it's just fan service, in a couple different ways, as we get a glimpse into the life of some of the legends of the One Piece world, like we've never seen them before.
Yeah, it's truly them in their like prime, their youth, and now we only know them for the legends they are. But we open the chapter away from Elbaf, once again on a more random island that is under attack from one of these groups of idols at the time. And the men and even the Marines on this island are just completely defenseless due to their own affection, which is something we've seen before from this exact group, actually.
Yeah, Kuja Pirates, it's very much the same as whenever Boa steps in, is no one can control themselves, they're all just smitten with her beauty, and just fold right over.
Mm-hmm. She does have the upgrade of, like, the Maromaro fruit turning them to stone now, but even these men are just, they're not turned to stone, but they're doing nothing in response to this. But nobody could stand up to them, just like in the modern day, like you said, this group of women is once again headed up by a stunning captain, who, at this point in time, is a woman known by Gloriosa.
Yeah, and I mean, she's so beautiful, even her crew is fawning over her, which we've seen a bit with Hancock too, but understandably they're just like, man, it's crazy we get to work with such a beautiful woman. And she's even like to the point where she's annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Seems.
Will I ever outlive how perfect I look? And knowing what she looks like in the modern day as Elder Neon, it seems like she got her wish. But I don't know if that's what she really wanted, actually.
She just wants to live it out, chill, it's whatever.
And we even get a physical representation of like the public admiration for this group of women, as one of the Kuja crew brings this armful of fan letters for Gloriosa. And while she's, again, like you said, she's like, oh, just put it with the others, she also can't overlook the fact that there's an even bigger mountain of fan letters behind her for her first mate, a woman named Shakayaku. But as we know her in the modern day, it's Shaki.
Yeah, so it looks like it was very set that she was going to be the next leader if she was already garnering that much attention before even taking over the Kuja Pirates.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't like downplaying Gloriosa, because even like
absolutely not.
her crewmates are like, even when she's upset that she's not the prettiest, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But she just happens to be on the crew with this woman who's even more stunning. And also something that's interesting to note, the woman who delivers these letters, while she's not being heralded for her beauty like the other two, Tritoma is, as they put in her box, another future empress of Amazon Lily, the one that actually precedes Boa Hancock directly.
Yeah, so it looks like, because she's also younger at this point, so maybe they knew then, maybe it just happened to be that way because she spent so much time close with them, but yeah, they all seem to really ride together closely.
Mm-hmm. And it could also be a matter of, we know they all get love sickness, so maybe once they leave, they kind of have to have a fallback plan in case that happens. Maybe that just fell to Tritoma. However, we also do see on this page that the admiration for these beauties was not limited to just the common man, as we see a very familiar ship rolling up on the scene with his name plastered across the front, and even a legend like Roger and his crew were drawn to these beauties like moth to flame.
Yeah, but it's hilarious because it's not actually the leader that he's driven to. He also, like all of those fan letters, is being driven there for his love of Shaki.
Mm-hmm. And he's not even just like, oh, we want to admire her. He's like, no, we're stealing her.
I need her.
We're going to take her. We're going to really be like pirates in this chapter and try to kidnap her. However, at hearing this decree, Shaki herself, kicks open the door from her quarters and not only stops the entire conflict, but it literally seems like the whole world just hits pause the moment that this woman graces them with their presence. You see all of the flowers that they brought to adore this woman wilt in her presence. The birds flying nearby have love-struck eyes as well. She is tearing at the fabric of this world by just being so beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, the guys fold too. She just sidesteps Gabon and then just has Rogers just looking like a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, he takes out Ace. He's fully I'm gonna attack you.
He's coming, yeah.
I'm gonna get you.
I can't do it.
No, he literally just falls and lays between her legs, and he's probably enjoying every second of it.
Well, and then this was my favorite part, was the way that she looks over at Rayleigh and is like, must be painful, huh? Must suck to be with them. He's like, yeah, I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yes.
And then she gives him that wink, there was her being like, this is the guy I like, because he's not just fawning over me.
Yeah. And Rayleigh is still taken aback, but he's just not as awestruck as the rest of them.
He's composed.
But, even he's gonna do nothing when she tells the rest of her crew, alright, rob these guys blind, let's get out of here. Because he's like, I mean, yeah, she winked at me, man. I'm gonna have to deal with these idiots.
One in the long run, let's be real.
He is the winner at the end of the day. There's no debate about that. But before Roger could just hand over all of their goods and their treasures to these women with no resistance, a Navy ship does appear on the horizon, and you might not think that Roger would run, but he probably is getting chased all the time. He's just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah, so at first it's like, hey guys, let's get out of here. We don't want to deal with this. But then he gets word of who is in that ship. Garp.
Yeah, and despite the fact we know down the line these two have a great deal of respect for each other, at this point in time, when they are young, yeah, it is on sight. As soon as he knew it was Garp, he's like, oh, I'm not running. I can't be a bitch.
Change of plans, we're gonna crush them.
And it's really cool to see, because these are two iconic figures in the One Piece world, and before they were legends like we know them today, they were just two dudes in their 20s that loved beating the shit out of each other.
Throwing hands.
They just loved fighting. And it's also really cool that, Garp comes in with his meteor fist that we've seen before, but we finally get another named attack from Roger as well, being Aramitama, which we know Divine Departure, and this is very in line with that, being the name that is used to talk about the wrath and aggression of deities in Japanese lore. So, he's got celestial fighting style. That's crazy. And the two of them are duking it out. They're having the time of their life, it seems like.
Yeah, we see the explosions of hockey, and while they're going all out against one another, the Kuja Pirates also just take this opportunity to slip away. And Gloriosa, having fallen for Roger and being upset by the fact that it's not reciprocated, is just, again, awestruck watching him fight and duke it out with the strongest of the Marines.
Mm-hmm. And it also, something you and I had discussed outside of this, it may seem like, I know he talks about she falls for Whitebeard later, but Roger didn't reciprocate that love. Shaki loved Rayleigh and it wasn't reciprocated off the bat, in the same way. Boa loves
until
Luffy.
She left, yeah.
Yeah, and after these men reject these women who just have everyone falling at their feet, that's when the love sickness strikes. So it seems like that may be the prompt for the curse to fully take effect. And it's not just her pouting, but this could be the first signs of her love sickness taking over. So that's very interesting that there's a consistent theme across all of them that Oda's included. But we're gonna have to leave that scene there, as there's not too much more to explore. And instead, we do actually return to the shores of Elbaf, where Loki has gotten himself in trouble once more and actually had to have his life saved by some fishermen off the coast.
Yeah, and the captain even tells him, I was a little hesitant to save him. He's always acting up, he's been a problem like this before, but obviously he did, and Harold's thankful, but Ida's upset that he even took that second to think about it.
Her mother shows through very quickly. It is weird that the dude is talking shit to his king about letting his kid almost die.
But it's also like the consensus way that everyone feels about Loki on the island. I think they've kind of reached that point of, well, he's a troublemaker, he's always getting into problems, so I think they are just kind of open, yep, he is still the way he is.
Yeah, but thank God for Ida being the one voice of humanity in these people. And again, she does not care if you're bigger than her. She's going to chew your ass out for being so inhumane.
And then you kind of see why the guy would hesitate, because then Loki's like, I didn't ask you to save me. And he's like, that's what I was talking about.
Yes, he is a little shit, but at the same time, Ida also recognizes why he's pushing everyone away, why he's insulting everybody, and she recognizes, hey, your dad's busy, your mom's gone. You probably would enjoy being around people more. Do you want to live with me and Harudine?
Yeah, and both Loki and Harudine immediately, hell no. They don't get along, and he tries to even lash back out at Ida, saying, oh, I know you're just trying to take advantage of my dad, you're a gold digger and all this crap, and obviously Harudine's this is why I don't want him to stay with us. But it's not going to get under Ida's skin. She knows he's just acting out.
Plus the irony of calling her a gold digger when that's exactly what his mother was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just rolls right off her skin, and she is literally the only person that it just treats him with any sense of kindness. So we mentioned that we think she's Mosa before.
Yeah, this is only making me more confident in our guess.
And another brief appearance that's kind of nice. Other people do recognize how cruel he's being to Ida, even if she won't admit it. And we do see an appearance from Mato, a very young giant at this time, but this is in the present day, the woman who's running the bar that Ida had opened. So it's cool to see just this brief moment introduction of why she was set on the path that she was, because she clearly admired Ida in this way. And regardless of how everyone else feels for her, Ida's just gonna let it be. She's gonna let this kid be a kid, and that's fine with Loki too, because he's still gonna reject her offer, and in fact he's going to start rejecting every notion of every other giant being peaceful and kind.
I mean, at this point he's clearly made his decision that his idol is Rox. That is the only person he looks up to. That's who he wants to model his life after and who he wants to follow.
He is so tired of the idea of coexistence that he's no, the only thing that makes sense is domination. I'm stronger, I'm bigger, and everyone treats me like shit, so if I can take control, nobody can treat me like this and I can do whatever I want. But, again, that's just a very brief glimpse into what is to come, and instead, we cut away again from Elbaf and actually check in on his idol as Rox and his crew have fully already taken over Hachinosu. Months have passed. They conned the world government and got away with it. And because of his successful takeover, a bunch of other prospective pirates have shown up trying to join his bunch. And while we don't see them at first, we do hear of somebody else that has now arrived on the island looking to join the crew. And surprisingly, this low-level pirate group is very helpful and directs him exactly where he needs to go.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of just the way that the place is set up is they're just kind of all scattered around. And so these guys are yeah, come on in, but at your own peril at the same time. And they kind of try to mess with him as he's walking in. And that doesn't go too well.
No. One idiot even takes it so far as to kick him and mock him. Oh, you're never gonna make it that far. And oh boy, does he pay very quickly as he just reaches out his hand, throwing off this hood as he does so. And just fully grasps and crushes this dude's head in his hand, his big meaty claw, and reveals himself as Kyo the Wicked, a hitman at the time. But what's much more interesting, they mention the fact that he was currently the rival of Shiki, so he already had notoriety and would go on to become Silver Axe.
Yeah, I mean, and he just looks badass. The X's on the glasses is a crazy cool touch. And yeah, just a silent killer.
It makes sense too, in retrospect. Golden Lion Shiki, Silver Axe.
Just kind of
yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They're always gonna be built around one another, so it makes sense that they're rivals. But now that he's made his presence known, on that same page we shift focus to a different part of the island where at the time it's kind of a fish-shaped mountain. but it becomes a lot more familiar to what we know it as today, as two massive holes are blown out of the side of this mountain in what would become the eye holes of the skull today.
Yeah, I love that. And he just did it so casually of like, you're right, this does look better.
Yeah, it's a better view up here now. I can see everybody that I'm better than. And now that they have this proper view, Rox starts to carry on. He's like, oh, as I was saying, I have my grand plan. We need 2 devil fruits, like very specifically. One is very likely on Elbaf, being the legendary fruit that Harold has. And he also mentions that Harold has to take it, so probably like an ancient giant needs to use it to its best ability.
Yeah, which is also what makes it so important that Loki now has it.
Mm-hmm. But the other one, he actually doesn't mention, and
we can just assume, we talked about this, it's almost gotta be Blackbeard's darkness fruit.
Yeah.
Because that's the way Blackbeard went all out to get it. He killed a crew member for it. And it's been the key to everything, to being able to fill out all the rest of his plan.
Yeah, it kicked everything off. This was the thing he was so determined to go after that it seems very likely that that was probably the other one, but we'll have to wait and see, because that's not the only thing that they're looking for. The rest of his crew also mentions the fact that the Galley Ra Warhammer Company, the very ones we learned about recently from Ja Rule, is also something that they're looking for, whether that's for soldiers or what, but they cannot seem to find this group. They have their networks looking for them, but there's no sign of frozen giants anywhere.
Yeah, well, and even Harold thought they were just myth and legend, so it would make sense that they're not that easy to come across. But it makes you think that something's gonna come of that before we get through the rest of Elbaf, or they're gonna find something eventually in the current time.
And they also mentioned, like, they are still corpses, so I don't know how much good they'll be to us, but we'll figure that out later, I guess.
Yeah, maybe something with their warhammers.
I also included, because I spent way too much time looking into this as we were doing research, but weird fact of the day, Big Mom is 24 here, and she already has 18 kids and is on her 6th husband, so she is truly working towards that title of Big Mom really quickly.
Yeah, that's why she got so fat. She's popping them all out.
But that's all I had to say about that one. And we're going to continue on, as they mentioned that even finding this group of giants and bringing them back to life somehow is not going to achieve their goal, because how are they going to get them to follow them? And that's when Kaido speaks up, being a teenager that he is at the time.
Yeah, and just a hardhead in general.
Yeah, and he's like, well, we could always just beat them up and make them do what we want them to do. We should even do that with Harold.
Yeah, that doesn't sit right with this captain at all, because he tells him, Harold's my boy. You don't talk about him like that.
He kicks him in the face. He nearly starts a full-out brawl that the rest of the crew has to, like, break up at the time.
Yeah, and they're like, yo, we just took this island. We're about to decimate it if you two do this right now.
Yeah, but you're right. He's like, don't touch my friends. So, like, again, like how we've seen Blackbeard is very similar to Luffy, there's a little bit of that similar personality there, just on very different ends of the spectrum. And he's not gonna let him force Harold to do anything. But now that he's established his dominance over his crew again, he makes his last grand decree to the group that he has gathered here. If you're not on board, get the hell out, I don't need you. But if you want to reach the apex of this world, if you want to be at the very top, follow me.
No, and I loved the exact phrasing on this stuff. Elbaf is the key to bringing down the Holy Land. It's your choice if you want to stand with me on the day of destiny. That is how you get your crew going. That's how you rile up the troops.
It's like a good halftime coach speech. Yeah, no, he's got everybody hyped up for this. And with that decree, though they would add some more members like Gloriosa later, the force known as the Kuja Pirates has fully arrived. They have been formed, and they are ready to take on the whole damn world to get what they want. But now that this monstrous crew has fully taken shape, we have to wonder how much more we're going to see from Rox in this flashback being told by Loki. Because once we get to Harold's death, that's all we really need to know, and we're going to jump back to the real story. So, until then, we hope that we can get a little bit closer of a glimpse. We really want to see God Valley.
Yeah, something, please.
Just a little bit of God Valley, please. Maybe Harold was even at God Valley.
Can you spare some lore, Oda?
Please. But we will just have to wait and see when the next chapter releases, which I think is going to be in another week and a half because of the holiday that Shonen Jump seems to take. But until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed. Comment who your favorite Rocks crew member has been so far, because there's so many cool, unique ones. Like, we just gotta throw away with Silver Axe in this one. Subscribe to help this channel keep on growing. And as always, be crew.